So let's have a quick look actually at what our budget is and how the transfer list looks just now. So we have 17,000,000 and 176,000 a week free in the transfer budget and wage budget. So, and obviously we can sign ridiculous players because we're Real Madrid. In terms of the transfer list, is there anyone we would consider making a move for? No, not really. I mean, no. We're not going to go get Tom Cleverley for some reason. Fabregas would be the only one I would even consider, just for, again, domestic player bias. He's Spanish, and but we don't need him, and he would be the entire transfer budget. So no need. So we're going to advance, and we're going to see what happens from there. Oh, okay. So we have 26 bids of some kind. So that's interesting. We'll have a look at that in a minute. Now here's the expectation from the board. European Super Cup, they don't care about, but I want to win it. Spanish First Division, of course, they want to win, naturally. The Champions League, I can pick either reach the final or win the thing. I would prefer to keep it reach the final because although we're a very strong team, in the Champions League we're going to run up against, Bayern Munich, we're going to run up against Barcelona, So to say that I'm going to win it and have the board be disappointed if I just reach the final and get beat would be too harsh in my opinion. And again, the Spanish Cup they don't care about. I like the Spanish Cup for development of youngsters because every tie is over 2 legs. So we can play the youngsters there. And if we were to get a tie against a bigger side, we could play the youngsters one leg and then the proper team in the other leg. So there's, I like the Spanish Cup. But again, they don't think it's important. So again, if we were to go with the youngsters and get beat, who cares? So happy with that. Well, interestingly, if I pick winner, what does it go up to? Goes up like 600k. No thanks. So we'll leave that at reach final. So we have a lot of expectations on us. Here's the report. Right, I don't need to read the big thing about what's good about us. What's good about us, frankly, is we're Real Madrid. So weaknesses, goalkeeper depth, sort of, but I'm not overly concerned. I'm not in a huge rush to correct that. Defence depth, let's see if there's anything to that. Then we have Ramos and Varane. We also have Pepe and Nacho, but if we sell Nacho, we only have Pepe. That is a good point. Right, okay. We'll keep that in mind as we look at these transfer bids. And the wage budget's kind of low. Right, again, there's nothing I can do about that. Okay, let's see. Introduction advice. One is to scout these players right. I don't really know much about them. Saponara is not going to be good enough for Real Madrid, so we can ignore him. Right, okay. Real Sociedad don't want him. Levante don't want him. Alaves don't want him. Villarreal chasing Asensio. Valencia chasing Asensio. Right, okay. Okay, so here's the bids for Nacho. The 10.25 from PSG is what his value is, and they don't want any wage contribution like West Ham. West Ham bid 4.1. Okay, so I'm inclined to accept PSG's bid unless anything else. Well, Tottenham as well. Manchester City, Liverpool. Okay. Let's experiment with one of these and see if I can negotiate. Manchester City, I can negotiate. Okay, so I'm going to be a bit sly here. And because I know we have the bid from PSG at the 10.25 million, which I can just go accept if we should turn off Manchester City, I'm going to try and play them against each other in a sort of way. And I'm going to try and ask Manchester City for the 15 million that I initially sort of thought of. And we'll see what they say. So they're willing to give us it in a roundabout way. So I think we can push them a bit higher here. And we can try, because they're giving us it in these sort of installments, I'm going to ask for 16.5 and see what they say. They're giving us it, but they want to change the... Right, let's actually lower the initial fee, and we're going to go up and see if they'll give us 17 million in that kind of split there. Again, we don't really care how it's split because we're so rich as a club. If we can get more money overall, that's the important thing. Now again, if this was a clause like, you know, after winning the Champions League we'll give you X amount of million, I'd be more hesitant to take it. But over the 24 months we still get the money. So see if we can get the 17. Yes, so they've accepted 17. So that gives us a baseline now to go to other clubs. So the 17 million has been accepted, and he will go and negotiate with Manchester City over that fee. So we can now talk to Liverpool and ask them for 20 million because we have the 17 safe. Now, they're not willing to go that high, which is understandable. We're going to ask for it in a roundabout way. So we're going to go 15 million. And then we're going to ask for the 5 in installments. Okay, so they've come back. Okay, we'll ask for 14. And I mean, this is basically just somewhat trial and error here. We'll see if we can get 18 off of them. So they're going to give us 18. So we can accept that. And we can go back and tell Manchester City that we've frankly changed our minds and we're not going to take that anymore. So that's 18 million from Liverpool. So again, we can bear that in mind. And we can go back to Tottenham now. I'm sure you can see how this is going to develop. We'll ask Tottenham for 20 million, which they're not going to give us. See, they seem to be on a fairly similar baseline to Liverpool. So I'm going to reiterate my desire for 20 million and see what the offer is. So they've offered the 16.25. Okay. So I'm going to give a structured offer for 20 million. So 14 up front and then 6. And they've just changed the structure of it, but they're ultimately going to give us the 20 million. Most transfers, not this many clubs are going to bid for, so it's not going to be like 10 minutes of action most times we get transfer bids. Now PSG, we can go and we can ask for 22 million, and it might scare them off if we go too high with the initial bid. Okay, so they've negotiated this 13.25. So I'll reiterate my desire for 22 and see what they say. And I suspect they'll go to 16 again. Yep, 16.25. So I'm going to go to 15 and then 7 and see where they come on that. So that'd be an overall value of 22, which they've accepted. Okay, now we have to go and tell Spurs that it's not going to happen for the 20 because we're getting 22 now. And Liverpool as well. And then what we can do, rather than going through all of these individually, we can go here, respond to all offers, reject all unresponded offers, which will reject the likes of West Ham's measly 4.1 million. And we just want to make sure, okay, we can't tell here what we've done. So we've rejected. So we should have rejected everything other than PSG's, which is true. Now he can negotiate his contract with PSG, which he better do successfully because 22 million is a hell of a fee. We're laughing if we get that. You know, we've won a watch if we get 22 million for essentially a guy who's spare parts. Now, the loan offer for Mariano, let's see. The most important thing is playtime. So squad rotation, I don't like. First team regular, I do like. So there seems to be a fair mix now. And the financial dealings seem somewhat mixed as well. So I would like someone who's going to play him as a first team regular and pay 100% and preferably in Spain. Now there we go. They're giving us the fees that we asked for, paying 100%, and he's a first team regular. So I'm going to accept Granada's bid and I'm going to reject everything else. Hopefully they give him game time. Now, Asensio is the most important one. We want first team regular. So, Bayern Munich, Manchester United, and PSG have all said they'll take him, which would be sensational. Unfortunately, squad rotation player, which means he could get 25 games or he could get 3. I don't like the uncertainty, and again, if I could keep him in the Spanish division, that'd be nice. So, again, these guys have both met the fee that we asked and the 100% wages. Now, we might have been able to ask for bigger fees, but I'm not really adept at the loan fee situation. Generally, I will let a player go for free if they're willing to tell me he'll be a key player or a first team regular. So we're making a bit of money on him here, and I'm actually going to accept both clubs' bids, and then it's up to the player to decide where he wants to go, and I'll reject the rest of the offers. So, and then that's just telling us about those offers. So we'll advance again. Hopefully we can get this natural business done, and then we can put a cut in, because this has really dragged on more than I wanted it to. Oh, one Mata's come available. Okay, maybe this is going to drag on a little bit more here. We're just meeting the players, telling them we're going to win the league. Standard stuff. This has somewhat of an effect if you're a club where the expectations can vary. So you can tell the players you want to avoid relegation, or that you think you can achieve mid-table. And if the players think you're being unrealistic, it can affect morale and so on and so forth. Obviously at Real Madrid, we're going to tell them we're going to win the title because that's what's expected of us. You know, you're not going to say we're going to finish mid-table as Real Madrid manager. So this is interesting to me. Juan Mata's available for 45 million. Now, we don't have 45 million. Not yet. But I'm interested. So we're going to scout him just to see if that is in fact true. If we could get Juan Mata. And also because we want to tie up this natural business before we move on. So again, as you can see, this is a little behind, because this is PSG's bid before we negotiated them up to the 22 mark. Fine. We can have a friendly with our reserve team. So every now and then you spot little bits of news that come up. So for example, Juventus have made a bid for Carlos Vela of Real Sociedad, which would be nice for me, because to have him out of the league would be nice, so I don't have to face him. Orellana, 3 stars, no interest. Lucas Lima, no interest. Mata is only 3 stars, which is interesting. I would have said he's better than that. But, okay, I accept that, no problem. Training camp, I'm just going to auto-pick the team, I don't really care. Squad selections are obviously important for tournaments and, you know, the league and things like that. But in terms of the training camp, 45 people get to go. I'm sure it's not going to leave anybody out. And here's our initial press conference, which I'm going to decline because, frankly, I find the press elements of this game to be one of the most dull elements of the game. You essentially get the same question over and over and over again. Now, I know in some senses that is a simulation of what managers deal with in real life, but I just frankly can't be bothered sitting here and clicking the same buttons all the time. Sometimes I'll be inclined to do it. This is not one of those times. So let's have a wee look here. We've had another transfer bid here. A loan offer for this guy, who I don't even know who he is. Squad rotation player, 10%. Again, because I don't really know who he is, I'm just going to accept it. I really don't care. Hermoso again, a decent left back, first team football. Going to take that. Oops. I've obviously forgot to assign the responsibility of playing friendly matches to my assistant manager. Yep. Just friendly matches, assistant manager. I'm no interest in playing the friendly games are just for fitness. I don't really care what happens in the friendly games. If I was trying out a tactic, so for example our experimental tactic, if I didn't know how I wanted the team to play, if I haven't developed that philosophy that we talked about earlier, then I would probably take charge of the friendly games just to see how they handled certain different formations and styles. But I already know how we want to play. So I'm just going to let the assistant manager take the the friendly games. No point slowing things down because we really want to get into the action here. We won 9-1. Perhaps I should let the assistant manager take the real games as well. Just have a little look here. I mean, pinch of salt because we were playing a reserve team, but still pretty good. Benzema scored a hat-trick in 12 minutes, okay. Bale, Modric, Benzema, he has 5 now. Vasquez and Asensio. So who scored for the reserves? That's what we look at him. 14 dribbling, okay pace. He could be, he couldn't be a Real Madrid player, he's not good enough, but well done to him for scoring. Now, training camp, etc, etc. Most of these news stories really are irrelevant, frankly. And we really just want to get to the natural deal. We really just want to get to the position where we can sell this guy, we can reassess our transfer budget, and see if we're going to make a move for another defender. Because although we're selling a defender to buy a defender, I want more quality than that. If I could get a young Spanish wonder kid, I have a couple in mind, but if I can get someone like that, then I'm going to look to go in that direction. Nacho's okay backup, but if we can get some money in for him, 22 million, and we can spend our 17 million, some of the wage budget, I might look to do that. We'll see how it goes. But we need him to accept this contract from PSG first so we can get the money in. Obviously, this being a pre-season episode, the action is somewhat thin on the ground, but we're really just developing a feel for the club here. And another loan deal. First team defender left. Okay, I'm probably cutting the legs out from underneath the B team here by letting them all go on loan, but really the B team is irrelevant. Recruitment advice summary. See, this is something interesting that a lot of these players I will just click scout because it's worth having an opinion. Some of them, such as, this guy who I'm going to assume is pronounced Pizzi or Pizzi, I know he's not good enough because I already know who he is, frankly. I know he's not going to be in my Real Madrid team. Luan is an interesting one because I've seen him do really well in previous games for teams like Arsenal. So we'll scout him just to see what they think of him at Real Madrid. Musakio was a decent backup, as is Murillo, but no interest. This chap, I'm going to scout again. Could become a top class player. Indicates that he's a young player, and he's a centre back, and he's Spanish. So just prepare for if we do sell him. Now, these nation scouting jobs, I just apply. There's no harm in doing it. We'll get the occasional reports from England that will tell us this player's doing well, that player's doing well. Same with Italy, same with Portugal. And the good thing about the reports is it tells us the player's doing well, but it will also tell us what kind of fee we can expect to pay for the player. And that's important. So we might know Sergio Aguero for Manchester City. We'd love to sign him. I'd love to sign him. Unfortunately, we would probably have to pay 100 million or something ludicrous. So if we have this chap scouting England, and Aguero was to have a bust-up with his manager, and they were to transfer list him for 40 million or something, we would see that in the reports. So, or we may see that in the reports. We might miss it, but we may see it in the reports. And again, we're just going to do the same with all these other places. We might find some players we don't know about. We're scouting the Brazilian Cup. Thought that said the Betfred Cup for a minute there, which is a Scottish Cup. Sadly not. The contract of some reserve guys expiring. Fine, I'll offer him a deal. He looks okay. Yeah, I have no problem with that deal. I could probably squeeze it down a little bit, but I'm happy with it. I've been asked about that random reserve player's contract. That's something rather annoying as well, but this game sometimes in the press dealings, I have never heard Carlo Ancelotti or Pep Guardiola being asked about the contract situation of some random reserve player. I've never heard of that before, and I just tend to ignore those things. Isco's picked up an injury. Phenomenal. 6 to 7 weeks. Okay, not the best, but we'll deal with it. So we have a report here. 9 million to 12.25 million. Now that's pretty good. The only problem is that he plays Ronaldo's position. So we'll keep him in mind. We'll put a pin in him just now, and we'll remember him. If we're looking for a wide player, now the good thing again, he can play all three of these positions, and he can deputise as striker. He's only 23, so he can grow. A couple of stars. So he's a decent player. For now, however, again, we're going to put a pin in him. The young Tenerife defender, he'd be relatively cheap, but he's only okay. He's not particularly special. We could probably train him up with an intensive training programme. Who wants to buy him out of interest? Monaco, Watford and Benfica. So we could probably train him up and make him something a bit more special, but I want more of a finished product, to be honest. So let's see. Another loan bid, first team. Yeah. He's taking his time over this contract, old Nacho. Okay. It's a double hernia for Morata. I may tone down the training. I'll put it back to high. Now, I expect Real Madrid players to go through intense training pretty much at all times, because they should be super athletes. They shouldn't go away in the summer and start eating KFC. You know, they should keep in shape. But okay, I'll play the game. As we can see, we have a friendly with Bayern coming up. There's somewhat of a temptation to play that, but I don't think I will, just because it's going to slow down progress, and we really want to get into the meat of this. We really want to get into the season. Where on earth is Nacho? A lot of the advice screens I will just skip over as well. Juventus signed Carlos Vela. That's good. That's one of the teams in the league losing their best player. Always good. So a lot of this loading I might also trim out. I'm not certain yet. I might put a cut mid-video and spring forward to when he does sign the contract, because a lot of this, quite frankly, is just waiting for him to sign that contract. Not exactly the most exciting viewing. So I may put a cut in and I may skip forward. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Okay. So a little look here. Nope. No, just some contract advice. Okay, there we go. Asensio has chosen to go to Villarreal, rejecting Valencia. So let's hope he gets the first team football that he needs, and he should develop. Oh, Mariano ready to go to Granada, which is excellent. Again, let's hope he gets the first team football that he needs. So hopefully now some of them are concluding their contracts. Of course, they only had to decide whether or not they were willing to go on loan to these clubs. But hopefully we should now see the Nacho deal go through. There we go. Lovely. I'm not going to talk to him. I'm just going to sell him. How's that for loyalty? So we'll bank that money. He'll complete the move, and we'll see what we have to play with. And we'll try and bank that money. There he goes to PSG. One of those players is away on loan. Okay. Okay, so as you can see, where are we? Right, starting from here, as you can see, Asensio sealed his loan deal. He chose Villarreal over Valencia. And Mariano accepted the loan move to Granada. So hopefully they'll get first team experience in La Liga, in the Spanish league. And also Nacho finally completes his deal, moving to PSG. Let's have a little look at what kind of deal they've given him. They've given him £63,000 a week. Not bad, not to be scoffed at. But I think you can often tell as well how good a player is by what he looks like for another team. So for example, these stats generally tend to pop or shrink depending on whether he's at your club or not. So I look at that and I think bang average. So I'm glad we've sold him. Happy with that decision. How long has he been? Well, ending an over a decade run at Real Madrid, but we got 22 million, so I'll take that every day of the week. If we go to our scouting here, we can see our budget. See, we now have the 38.5 million, roughly speaking, and £262,000 a week. So we can now go out and buy our defender. However, I'm going to put a cut in here, and we're going to do that next time. We'll be coming back, we'll be finding our defender, and we may do a bit of a time lapse, a time skip, and we'll get into a bit more of the meat of the season, because I'm not expecting huge transfer dealings, and I don't want video after video after video of me hitting spacebar to continue the game. So we'll pause here, and I'll see you next time when we go looking for a defender.